Hello, welcome back for another one of our Friday Love and Learn segments. And we're so excited for this week to do something a little bit different from our traditional show. And that is to invite all of our spring retirees on so that we can have kind of love and learn reflection from really the duration of their time within our ESUs. And so really grateful to Mary Phillips of ESU 6 and Mike Danahy of the ESUCC. Susan Evans and Patrice Feller of ESU 10, all for joining us. I would be remiss not to mention Lisa Miles, who is also retiring but was unable to attend today. And so, grateful to her for all of her contributions to our ESU. We'll miss her as well. Just really looking forward to having this time to kind of reminisce a little bit, hopefully, on the terrific efforts that you all have poured into education and being a part of our ESU support statewide. And so maybe we'll kind of start there. Mary, if you'd begin, for people that maybe don't know you, we kind of give your background and the work that you've done at ESU 6.
Absolutely. And I'm sure there's a ton of people out there that don't know me. So I do serve as the Director of Student Services at ESU 6. I've been at this ESU for the last 5 years. And prior to that, I spent 25 years serving students with disabilities in Lincoln Public Schools. So that's been my two career spots. I have been a special ed teacher from early childhood through the transition age of 18 to 21, spent some time in middle schools, spent some time in high schools. So I have pretty much been through the whole range of instructor, and I've been a building leader at a middle school and then district level, both with Lincoln and here at the ESU as director. So that's pretty much been my career ladder. Always special education, always with an emphasis on family and parent advocacy.
Wearing a lot of hats and doing a lot of important work across all of those different titles for sure. And Mary's a returner to our Friday Love and Learn. So grateful to have a chance to chat with Mary again.
It was fun the first time. Here I am.
Yeah, these are fun. I really appreciate these opportunities to just have some informal chat with folks. And so, Mike, if you would kind of give us your introduction.
Yeah, I started at ESU 2 about 26 years ago, and at the time, there was only 5 schools hooked up to the internet, and we actually had to campaign a little bit to get them hooked up. But that soon became a non-problem because schools started hooking up quite regularly. And my responsibility was to make sure they got hooked up and stayed up throughout the years, and also run some services like mail and web services to start with. And then my later years, we did all sorts of network topology type work and also security and other things. And then in my later years, the last 5 or 6 years, I've been doing program development, primarily with the SRS special education software development. And in a nutshell, that's pretty much where I've been and where I'm at right now.
Yeah, and I have the pleasure of getting a chance to chat with Mike in and out of some of our different collaborative efforts through the CC, and really grateful to have had the opportunity to get to know Mike. Let's see, Patrice, if you would go next then and kind of give us your introduction.
Okay, I, like Mary, started out in the field of special education. I worked as a K-12 resource teacher, both in rural areas of Nebraska and in urban areas of Nebraska. Then I went on to get my school psych degree and actually moved back out here to this rural area and served schools as a school psychologist for years with ESU 10. And then for the last 5 to 6 years, I've been the MTSS facilitator here at ESU 10. So continuing to work in advancing what's best for kids, especially students with disabilities, but working more on the adult side of teaching.
Yeah, and I had a chance to learn from Patrice in our NERCS ESUCC collaboration as she shared out in some of our video content, and you have some really great ideas there. And so thanks. It's great to get a chance to visit with you again today. Susan, if you would.
Well, I'm Susan Evans, and I've been at ESU 10 for 14 years. And first of all, I'd like to thank you, Andrew, for this opportunity. These are so cool. I love the idea of learning and loving, and so thank you for all of these. They've been awesome. I started my career at a country school 17 miles south of Ansley, and I taught there for 5 years. And in between times, I even took 1 year off to milk cows and then begged for my teaching job back. So here I am again. Then we went to North Platte, where I'm from. My kids graduated from North Platte, and I taught there for 20, I keep saying 29. And then when I did the math, it was more like 25 or 26. And I taught first grade, but most of my time was spent at the middle school in literacy and reading and writing. And it was awesome. I love middle school age. That was a really great time of my life, my career, until I came to ESU 10, and I've been here 14 years, like I said, and this has just been a wonderful experience.
Oh, I'm in like month 10 of being in the ESU, and I agree, Susan. It has just been the people are just incredible. And I absolutely love it. And I'm grateful to all the folks who are tuning in today that are going to send some love your way over the course of our conversation. And so Denise sending her congrats, Julie Downing as well. Yeah, there's some great folks in here for sure. I'm going to get to all of our comments. Deb Herricks, thanks for joining us. And yeah, we definitely will miss everybody and all their contributions. Thanks, Brooke, for joining us too. And all of these comments will be saved. And so if we want to go back and kind of read some of those later, you certainly can. Susan Evans, who is getting the shout out there from Brooke for sure. And from Sarah also. So thank you to everybody, and continue to feel free to comment or even post questions as we chat here today. But we're going to get into it and talk a little bit about our loves. And I want to preface this and say that we don't all have to say the number one thing you love to diminish anything else that you would have loved over your career, because I'm sure it's a lot. I'm sure I hear it every week. We have a million loves on a weekly basis in these roles we have the good fortune to be in. But just maybe one that off the top of your head or just kind of sticks out to you, that amongst many, I'm sure. But Mary, would you share your first or start us off talking about our loves from our career?
Yeah, I would love to. So first of all, congratulations to all of my colleagues on this call. One thing I learned last time is when you're on the podcast, you can't put in comments. So I want to say congratulations to all of you guys. And I know personally, I have been connected with all of you in some capacity or another through SRS or through the MTSS journey or through the literacy co-teaching and learning about that, even at the middle level. You don't know this, but I feel connected to all of you. And that does relate to my reflective love over the course of my career. I have to say, when I started teaching, inclusive practices wasn't that prevalent, and we did pull out a lot. We were the pioneers to push inclusive practices into our classrooms and to support children with disabilities with their peers and friends in general education classrooms. I have loved seeing the growth of that. There's still work to do, but gosh, from where I started to what I observe now, it's a huge growth. We're over the learning curve. Now we're fine tuning and for the most part, helping those students be successful with friends and helping other friends who aren't verified as a student with a disability still get all the supports they need. That has been such a reflective love of mine to see that grow across so many districts and working with so many special education leaders and teachers. I'm going to miss those relationships and working with them alongside in helping students grow like that. So I think that probably is, reflectively thinking, one of my primary loves. And let me add, Mike, I love that I'm not handwriting IEPs anymore. I love that now it's all technology based. So your work has been tremendous. And Patrice, I love that we have a tier 3, but we also have a tier 2, and we have our kids in tier 1. I love where that direction is going. And all the work in literacy, Susan, it's amazing where we have come to support our kids. So I love all the work that you guys are doing too.
Mary, that's so great to think, one, to love the level of intentionality that has just continued to increase, to be more sensitive to the individual needs of helping kiddos be successful. And then I love what you did there too, and sort of pulling everyone together, because it takes all of us and our respective passions and interests and our collaboration across those to really best serve schools, teachers, kiddos, all the above. And so, yeah, Mike, we'll kind of transition to you then. What's your love that you'd like to share today?
Oh, first off, thanks, Mary. And all I can say is that you guys are, well, you're leaving, but SRS is going to be in great hands. Both the developers they hired, Anthony and Ryan, along with Scott Isaacson, I just see great things coming down the pike. So, yeah, they're very, very talented people. So, and the SRS stuff is just so important. But yeah, getting back to my love, I just love the people I got to work with over the years, Andrew. It's really been a big pleasure, from the professional development staff to the university network technicians to the telephone companies, which at times was an interesting sort of fun. I've just learned so much. And it's just incredible the number of people I got to interface with as we brought the internet up to the schools in Nebraska. And I was just fortunate to be around in a time where the internet just happened to explode in the schools too. So it's been really good. And it's kind of stable now as far as, bringing up all that stuff with the distance learning and everything. But there's a lot of stories to tell. But again, it's just a true love to be able to work with all those different people. And I must say, you people in special education, oh my goodness, I can't believe what you have to do. All the rules and regulations. I would be in the principal's office every single day. You would not want me.
Every trip. We'd have counted every trip you made there.
Yeah. Yeah, you would not want me in your class, let me tell you that.
Well, we have some continued support pouring in here, and so congratulating everyone and Mary, and then a message for Mike. And as we share these out, I want to just encourage everyone to continue to leave comments. We'll bring those in. If you have questions, if you'd like to kind of champion an idea or something that's said, we love that this is collaborative and we can get all voices brought in. And so, Patrice, if you would maybe share your love next.
Sure, I will. First of all, my journey with ESU 10 has been phenomenal, probably the best way to end my career. But when I think about the love I want to talk about, I think about the kids. And to me, finding that sweet spot, meeting them where they're at and bringing them along step by step, helping their learning, that zone of proximal development. That was the thing I really loved. When that happened, you could see the look on their face. They built their confidence. Their trust in me was expanded, and the relationships that we built made them, they were eager to learn, and you knew that. I think students with disabilities especially seem to appreciate that, because teachers, and by definition, have so much trouble finding how to teach them. By the way, the same is true for adults. I found that when you can meet them where they're at and bring them along step by step, that's the best way to do it. With MTSS teams, I had the privilege about a month ago, one team member saying in a meeting, she said, "Patrice, I used to think that about MTSS, but now I know better." What more could you ask for? That was thanks enough for me.
Wow, that's there's just there's a lot to unpack in there, and so I almost had a loss of words. I was just sort of wrapped up in your comments and just thinking about all those different levels of support and thinking about kind of the legacy and the ripple effect, I think. And I don't want to tread on our learn, but I do think that there's that piece of One of the quotes I really like is that that would encourage us to be about planting trees under whose shade we do not intend to sit. And I don't know why that sort of like popped right to the front of my thinking as you were sharing there, Patrice, and that, an educator never knows all the lives that they touch. But that's, you can hear it in all the things that you've been invested in and there with kids. So Susan, if you would share your love for us.
Well, my love is, of course, people, but I really want to talk about learning. And then I thought it was funny. I love to learn, then we learn to love, and it's all a vicious cycle. And that's probably why you came up with the title of this piece. But the learning is really, what drives me, and sharing that learning with our teachers and our admin. And even though I don't work directly with students anymore, Patrice, of course, brought up that important piece. That's why we do what we do is for our students. And the past few years, I've been looking up quotes on getting old. And one of my favorites is from Henry Ford. And he said, anyone who stops learning is old. The greatest thing in life is to keep your mind young. And so I think that's a lesson to all of us, even those young ones out there, that this is what this job is all about, is continuing the learning. And that's what I've appreciated about ESU 10 and this job. They've afforded me those opportunities to learn that just made me better. And, I wish all our teachers could have those kinds of opportunities, but then that's our job, is to share that learning that we get with the teachers to make them better, to make our students' lives better.
Gosh, and it's so mission driven too. I just love the heart of educators for the work that we do, and it's not just that we show up and get things done, but we do that for the purpose that we see in the work. And as Patrice was sharing, when the kids' faces light up, and it's just stuff so special. More comments coming in here, and I want to thank everyone that's tuning in. Continue to add these to our comment box, as we would love to bring more of those through. And some folks from Lynn at ESU 6, so a shout out to ESU 6, and we'll get some more here in just a minute. But we're going to take a second now to pivot and go to the learn, which is pretty fitting, actually, because I thought Susan's point was well made there. That oftentimes, even in these segments, we find that it's kind of tough to delineate one of those from the other. And it is maybe that reciprocity of we learn and then we can love what we're doing, and that love drives us to learn more. And I like that cyclical nature of that too. Hadn't thought about it that way. So Mary, what's one thing you would impart that you've learned during your time at the ESUs?
Well, I think I would say something about, and it is still connected to the love of it all, but I have learned that none of us can work in isolation. Those silos are down. We're all partnering together, all of us, all the disciplines that work together, from IT to our professional development and the services that we need through business and human resource. We all have to work together for the service-oriented mission we have of serving districts who are working directly with the students. And so I have learned that we are better together. That is one of the themes of one of my affiliates this year, and that we need one another to do the work we do. So we're not in a bubble. We're all together, and I love that. And I know at ESU, and I feel like that's the way it is across the state. I know at ESU 6, it is such a supportive and caring community within the ESU itself. And within my department, very supportive of one another. And I'm going to miss that terribly when I leave, is that community feeling that we have at our ESU. And our ESU larger communities, our PDO and all of our affiliates, my ESPD group. I've learned so much from them. I value that time I have with them. It's wonderful. They are the most caring and big-hearted group of professionals I've ever in my career worked with. So, that's what I've learned.
That's so terrific. And yeah, as you're just sharing that in the little window of time I've been in this ESU network, wow, I can see that and can't imagine being able to invest in that and watch that grow over years and decades in instances. And it's really powerful. And you're right, we are better together for kids and for each other. And this year has really stressed that. Or so.
Sure.
Yeah. Some of the comments.
This was a wild year to go out with, honestly. The last couple of years, but I feel like we're on the mend and moving forward in the right direction. So it's a good time to go.
Yeah. Well, speaking of being on the move, we actually found out today that masks will at least be not as required, I think, in about 2 weeks here where I'm located. And so hopefully, we're continuing to get back to something a little more familiar. Some of the comments actually come in a little on delay, so sorry if that's more on my end and just the way that this works. And so Susan, actually, as you were sharing, there were a couple comments that came in where Jason thought that maybe it was your office mate that was what you came in for every day.
Well, that too.
And Lynn championed that same idea, I think, that I kind of gravitated to as well. We do have such a tremendous job and a healthy responsibility in our work that I think drives us. And you can tell that, as Sarah can, from your comments there, Susan. And thanks, to everyone on this call, really, for being so passionate and being a great example for us all as we aspire to be better ourselves. And Debbie sharing about those silos being down. Absolutely. Agreeing with Mary on that. And Jason Everett again, saying that he agrees with what Mary shared also. And so thanks to everyone for the comments. It's always great to feel connected to Mary's point. And so, Mike, if you would, can you share your learn?
Well, I think over the years, I've learned that when you become an expert, you've learned that you really haven't learned anything. So the biggest part of learning, at least in my profession, is that there's so much more to learn. It's a never-ending thing. And I've learned how to be comfortable with that too. So I think if you're going to be in this profession or any profession, I think that's the key. And the other thing is, Mary brought it up, the collaboration and cooperation. Traditionally in the program development world, working in silos used to be the thing and the latest and greatest. But there's actually a lot of software and a lot of focus this day and age on program developers working together. And there's ways to do that. And ESUCC is developing some of those skills right now. And it's so important because you want to be able to have people do a whole bunch of different things, all going in the same direction. And without the direction, you can't do that. So without going into the techie details, which I don't think anybody wants to hear, that's kind of what my love and learn is.
Yeah, it's funny you bring that up, Mike, because that has been, as we're finishing up InViz here in the office, right? Each other's offices a lot more now. And talking and shooting ideas back and forth and turning some down and championing others. And you're right, it is a collaborative effort that makes everything kind of move forward. Patrice, if you would, can you share your learn with us?
Sure. It's kind of a take on what both Mary and Mike talked about in terms of everyone working together. But, they say you teach like you were taught, right? When I was growing up, parents deferred to everything the teachers said, but the teachers knew it all. Well, I've learned that's not true. Going back to my career in special education, one of the first things and the most important thing I think I learned was that working with parents of students with specific learning disabilities, you have to listen to them. You have to listen both to what they know about their child and to what their hopes and their dreams are. You have to see things from their perspective in order to work with them and help their student. So I've learned to be an advocate for those parents as well as for the kids. By the way, the same is true for all adults. You really want to see things from their perspective, stand behind them and look to see what they're seeing. And then you're able to work with them better. You gain their trust, and actually we all learn more. So that's the learning that's humbled me.
I can tell wrapped in that too is that you're a good listener, Patrice, right? I think you have to be able to be sensitive to those things. And yeah, I love that. That was a really great message to share with your learn. Susan, if you would.
First of all, I love, Patrice, how you always connect how kids learn and how adults learn, because really it's might be different, but it's so similar. And so I love your connections with that. What I've learned is that education is slow to change, and that we need to stay dedicated to changes that are really going to make a positive impact with our students. And specifically, I'm talking about the science of reading, which has been around for 40 years, but it's starting now to take a foothold. And I think our ESUs have been real instrumental in that. Our speech to print group, which I haven't been very faithful with, but our ESU people are working really hard to make sure that we have the resources that we need to promote what's best for kids and what we know is best for kids in the area of literacy. But I want to share one specific learning. I don't know if this is the venue to share this. Maybe you'll have to bleep me out or something. No, I'm just kidding. It's not like that.
There's a mute button. I don't know if I have it. No, we'll be fine. We'll be fine.
I'm kidding. But I learned, and I didn't know this before ESU job, is that the principal is so key in any kind of initiative that we try to get through. I was a teacher leader, and I'm sure everybody on this podcast, everybody listening, everybody that works for an ESU was once a teacher leader. And I always thought that was the big thing that would really get initiatives to go. But in hindsight, it was just in my classroom that I might have made an impact. But now I realize how important those principles are. And I've always had a dream of reorganizing the central office. You know, what do we really need? We need principals that are instructional leaders. We know that. We've said that for years, but I don't think we practice that. We have principals doing things that take away from the job of an instructional leader. And if I was in charge of the world, I would change our whole central office structure. And I think that would really help make a difference. But wow, I didn't know I was going to go there, but did you need me?
Well, and that's part of what reflection does, right? When you kind of stop and pause and think about what's at forefront of your heart and your thoughts and those kind of things that, yeah, you arrive at ideas like that and can kind of explore those. And so I was wondering if, I don't know if Brooke Havan's still on, but I know she always says that her favorite level in education is administration for some of those same reasons, I think. And so absolutely. And so Sarah also is here and would want to stamp Susan's saying here, I told you so. As an advocate for the right thing for a long time, as so many of you all have been in your respective capacities. And so that said, we will have PDO to get a chance to still kind of see everybody and to chat a little bit more. And I am grateful to each of you, not only for the work that you've done, but for taking a little bit of time today just to join and share out kind of in a more statewide format and to help give us a chance to learn from your perspective, really. And so with that being said, I would encourage everyone to go check out the comments again, because there's a lot of great love for all of you from everybody around the state that's tuned in live. And I'm sure those will continue to pour in as people check this segment out later. But thank you all so very much. Oh, we've got some comments here. I want to bring those in as we kind of close things. Let's see. All right, Debbie, retirement wish. Often when you think you're at the end of something, you're at the beginning of something else. I think that's a really great note maybe for us to close on. So that said, thank you all so very much. And
thanks, Andrew.
We'll see
Thank
you
you,
again
Andrew.
next week. Yep.
Good
Have a
luck,
great one.
everybody.
Yeah.
Happy
Bye-bye.
retirement, you guys.
Yeah.
You too.